Former Border Patrol agents Ignacio Ramos and Jose Compean are free men tonight. The commutation of their long prison sentences became effective today. Now, this broadcast has reported extensively on the miscarriage of justice against these two men from the very beginning. We want to take you back and review the history. It was on February 17, 2005, the two agents shot and wounded an illegal alien drug smuggler they were pursuing. The smuggler, Osvaldo Aldrete Davila, fled back across the Mexican border, abandoning his van that was loaded with marijuana. Incredibly, though, the U.S. Attorney for Southwest Texas, Johnny Sutton, granted Davila immunity from prosecution and then turned around and charged the two agents with 12 felony counts. That trial began on February 21st, 2006, and the two agents were convicted on October 19th of that year. Ramos was sentenced to 11 years, Compean to 12 years. They have appealed the convictions, and those appeals are still pending. The men reported to prison on January 17, 2007. This broadcast and many lawmakers called for the pardon of the two former agents, and hundreds of thousands of Americans joined the call for justice for Ramos and Compean. Davila, meanwhile, continued to smuggle drugs into this country while under immunity by the U.S. Attorney. He eventually pleaded guilty to drug charges, and he was sentenced to 9 years. Now, keep in mind, that is less than the terms of Ramos and Compean. On January 19th of this year, in the waning hours of his presidency, George W. Bush ordered their sentences commuted, but their convictions still stand. On February 17th, 4 years to the day after the original incident occurred, Ramos and Compean were released into home confinement. And tonight, they are finally free, and they are speaking out for the very first time. Our Casey Wine has been reporting on this miscarriage of justice really longer than anyone. And today he spoke with the two former agents in El Paso, Texas.
2.5 years.
Former Border Patrol agents Ignacio Ramos and Jose Compean have been out of prison for a month. They've been confined to their homes, reconnecting with their wives and children, but still restricted from re-entering society. Early Friday morning, their ankle monitors came off, and Ramos and Compean tasted real freedom for the first time in more than 2 years.
Get out all day long. I'm not coming home for a while. Go have lunch with some friends.
The Ramos family's first trip out was to Nacho's favorite Mexican restaurant. Earlier, we spoke about his prison experiences and the day he found out President Bush commuted his 11-year prison term.
How surprised were you when you found out that your sentences were commuted?
I was very surprised. I wasn't expecting it the day it happened. I broke down. I started crying, and I got on my knees and prayed.
Sum up your prison experience for me. What was it like?
Hard, long, lonely. Just wondering everything that I was missing with my family, knowing I was missing so much.
Do you miss being a Border Patrol agent?
Yes, I do.
What do you miss about it?
The work, being out in the field, the camaraderie of some of the agents I worked with, and I believed in the job. I believed in the work I did.
As a felon whose conviction has not been overturned, he'll never have the job again unless his ongoing appeals are successful. If that happens, Ramos says he would still take the job. While in prison, he received tens of thousands of letters from supporters throughout the United States, even from American troops fighting overseas.
I can't thank them enough. From the bottom of my heart, it's what kept us going. It's what kept me going in prison, aside from my family.
Tell me about your family. How'd they do while you were gone?
It broke up this family circle we had, and it was very hard on them all. It affected each one of them in their own different way, but they were all very resilient. They all hung in there.
For Jose Compean, prison also kept him from his wife and 3 children. His youngest son was born just before he went away.
I think that's been the hardest. When I turned myself in, he was only 4 months old. The first day when I got home, they were still at school, and once they got home, I was already home. I opened the front door, and both of them, the 2 youngest, just stared at me, and they didn't know how to react.
Compean never expected the reaction he and Ramos received after being sent to prison.
I didn't expect it. I expected people to really forget all about us once we turned ourselves in, and so all of the support we received was really unexpected, and it was a very pleasant surprise.
For now, he's content just to be home.
There's really nothing specific that I want to do. The only thing I've been really looking forward to is actually getting out of the house and going out to dinner with her and the kids, or taking the kids to the park, and then just being out together as a family.
Both former agents are in remarkably good spirits. Compean even wanted to thank the staff at the prison, where he spent more than 2 years in solitary confinement.
So I'd like to thank the entire staff at FCI Elkton, especially the shoe crew down there. Everybody was very professional down there, and I want to thank them.
In spite of the situation that we found ourselves in, you still have to count your blessings. And the people that have come into our lives, we've seen many miracles. You know, there are more important things than the people that have done this to us or what we've gone through. You know, I'm not going to sit here and dwell on that. You know, we're looking ahead, and like I said, we're optimistic for a very good future.
The agents continue to pursue legal appeals in hopes of obtaining a new trial. For now, they remain on probation for 3 years. Ramos plans to begin work helping out in his father's insurance business. Compean is going to help his father-in-law recover from an automobile accident. And I should say that's Ramos's father-in-law's insurance business. For both, it's too early to talk about long-term employment prospects, long-term career prospects. As we said, for now, they're just happy to be home, Lisa.
Yeah, they were away from their families for 2 years. Now they're just trying to reestablish, connect again with their families. Just truly an amazing story. Now, I noticed, Casey, that you didn't talk about the day's events. What actually happened the day with Davila? Why is that?
Well, it's because those appeals are continuing. Both agents, former agents, attorneys requested that they not speak about the particular events of that day. You know, it happened over 3 years ago. There's concern that it could be used against them, and if they said something that in some way conflicted in a minor way with what they testified to at the original trial. They just didn't want to jeopardize any future appeals by having them try to recall events that happened so many years ago, Lisa.
Yeah, so even though they are out and free, they still want to clear their names, right? I mean, what's the status right now of the appeals?
Well, absolutely. Both of them, you can tell that this status of being a convicted felon really is upsetting and something they'd like to get rid of. The two agents can't even see each other. They can't appear together because the terms of their probation mean they can't associate with other convicted felons. We're expecting to hear a decision from the Supreme Court any time now as to whether they're going to order the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals to relook at this case. If the Supreme Court does not agree to that, their attorneys plan to seek an entirely new trial. As we reported, some of the counts against them were overturned by the appellate court, and their attorneys think they have a good case to get a new trial on all of these charges, Lisa.
All right, and I know you will be tracking and monitoring the story. Thank you very, very much, Casey, for your reporting. Well, we'd like to know what you think. Here's tonight's poll question. Do you think the Supreme Court should overturn the convictions of former Border Patrol agents Ignacio Ramos and Jose Compean? Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com, and we'll bring you the results later in the broadcast. Well, tonight's poll results, 97% of you think the Supreme Court should overturn the convictions of former Border Patrol agents Ignacio Ramos and Jose Compean.